Right now, somewhere in Germany, someone is biting into one of these. Berlin at night, neon reflections and glowing Döner signs. The Döner Kebab. It's the most popular fast food in Germany. The country has over 18,000 Döner shops. They sell hundreds of tons of Döner meat every single day. Industry estimates put annual European sales at 3.5 billion euros, with some figures ranging even higher, up to 7 billion. Inside vast factories, rows of spinning Döner spits. Up close, the meat sizzles as fat crackles. But here's the thing, nobody can agree on who invented it. Multiple people have claimed the title. And in 2024, the Döner became the subject of an actual international dispute between Turkey and Germany, taken all the way to the European Commission. At Brussels, flags ripple outside the Commission headquarters. The story of the Döner takes center stage. Night streets, knives slice, queues grow, sandwiches wrap, sizzles fade. To understand the Döner Kebab, we need to go back centuries, to the Ottoman Empire. One of the earliest known descriptions comes from the famous Ottoman traveler Evliya Çelebi. Between 1660 and 1670, he traveled through the empire and described a special meat dish, thin slices of seasoned meat, layered together and slowly cooked over embers on a horizontal spit. The technique, layered, slow-roasted meat, was already well established in Ottoman cuisine. Food historian Mary Ayşen, who specializes in Turkish and Ottoman cuisine, has noted that the earliest depictions of something resembling döner appear in miniature paintings by an Istanbul artist dating from 1616 to 1620. But back then, the spit was still horizontal, a method known as kebaba, which still exists today. The pivotal innovation came in the 1830s in the Turkish city of Kastamonu on the Black Sea. According to documented accounts, a cook known as Hamdi Usta tilted the traditional horizontal spit to a vertical position. The reasons were practical. In cramped urban kitchens, a vertical spit took up less space. But it also had an unexpected culinary benefit. The fat from the upper layers of meat now dripped down over the meat below, keeping it constantly basted, juicier and more flavorful. This was the birth of what we now call Döner Kebab. The word döner comes from the Turkish verb dönmek, meaning to turn or to rotate. A decade or two later, in the city of Bursa, a young man from a butcher's family named Iskender Efendi independently developed his own refined version. He sliced the meat especially thin and served it over flatbread with tomato sauce and sizzling butter. The Iskender Kebab, named after him, remains one of Turkey's most celebrated dishes. Behold Iskender Kebab, butter melts, steam rises, tea awaits. And there's one remarkable piece of evidence from this era. Around 1855, British photographer James Robertson captured what is believed to be the first photograph of a Döner Kebab stall in Istanbul. It shows a vertical spit, a cook, and an apprentice. The vendor is unidentified, neither Hamdi Usta nor Iskender Efendi, which tells us that by the mid-1800s, the vertical döner was already widespread in Istanbul. The cooking technique clearly originated in what is now Turkey. That part is well documented, but the Döner Kebab as the world knows it today, the street food sandwich, that chapter of the story begins in a very different place. In the years after World War II, West Germany experienced what they called the Wirtschaftswunder, the economic miracle. Industry was booming. Factories were running at full capacity. But there was a serious problem: not enough workers. On October 30th, 1961, West Germany and Turkey signed a bilateral labor recruitment agreement. Under the deal, Turkish workers would come to Germany to fill the labor gap. They were expected to stay for a year or two, then return home. They were called Gastarbeiter, guest workers. The emphasis was on guest. These workers, mostly men, often lived in factory-provided housing, earned less than their German counterparts, and were not initially expected to bring their families or settle permanently. Spare dorms housed workers. Photos and radios kept company. Over the following 12 years, approximately 876,000 Turkish citizens came to Germany through this program. And among them was a man named Kadir Nurman. Born in Turkey around 1933, Nurman emigrated to West Germany in 1960 at the age of 26. He first settled in Stuttgart before moving to West Berlin in 1966, where he worked as a mechanic in a printing press. And in Berlin, he noticed something. The city was fast-paced, workers were busy, but there wasn't much in the way of quick, portable food. In Turkey, Döner Kebab was traditionally served on a plate, meat with rice, flatbread, and vegetables. A sit-down meal. Nurman had an idea. What if you took that seasoned meat from the vertical spit and put it inside bread? Something you could eat on the go? In 1972, Kadir Nurman opened a small food stall, an Imbiss, directly across from the Bahnhof Zoo train station in West Berlin, one of the city's busiest transit hubs. From that stall, he began selling what was, by all accounts, a very simple sandwich. Grilled meat sliced from a vertical spit with onions and a little salad, wrapped in flatbread. It reportedly sold for around 150 Deutschmarks. Berlin, 1972. Street vendors serve a simple new classic. It was immediately popular. But Nurman is not the only person who has claimed credit. Nevzat Salim, another Turkish immigrant, has said that he and his father began selling doner from a stall in the town of Reutlingen, near Stuttgart, in 1969, 3 years before Nurman. And Mehmet Aygun, who went on to build the well-known Hasir restaurant chain in Berlin, claims he began serving doner and bread on Oranienstrasse in the Kreuzberg neighborhood in 1971. The truth is, with so many conflicting accounts, the question of who first put doner meat into bread may never be definitively answered. As Rasmus Thorkildsen, founder of Berlin's Döner Museum, has said, "I think all the claims are plausible, but I like the thought even more that multiple people at the same time had the need to make some money and saw an opportunity to serve a well-known Turkish dish in their new home country." What is documented is this. In 2011, the Association of Turkish Doner Manufacturers in Europe, the official industry body, reviewed the various claims and gave their Lifetime Achievement Award to Kadir Nurman. Nurman himself acknowledged the ambiguity. He once said, "Maybe someone else also did it in some hidden corner, but no one noticed. The kebab became well known through me." Whatever the exact origin, what happened next is one of the great fast food success stories. Through the 1970s and 1980s, doner shops spread across West Berlin and then across West Germany. The dish evolved significantly from its original simple form. What started as meat and onions in bread became a generous sandwich loaded with salad, tomatoes, cabbage, onions, and a choice of sauces, garlic, herb, or spicy. Even the language evolved with it. In Berlin, when ordering a doner in Turkish, many people use the German word scharf for hot sauce, a small but telling sign of how deeply the dish had woven itself into both cultures. Then, on November 9, 1989, the Berlin Wall fell. Millions of East Germans experienced West Berlin for the first time. And with it, the Döner Kebab. In later years, public events across Germany featured doner, simply reflecting its widespread everyday appeal. Reunification opened an entirely new market. Turkish-German entrepreneurs expanded eastward, and within a decade, doner had conquered the entire country. Today, Germany has over 18,000 doner shops. According to industry figures, they produce roughly 400 to 600 tons of doner meat every day. The Association of Turkish Doner Manufacturers in Europe puts annual European sales at approximately 3.5 billion euros, with Germany accounting for about 2/3 of that. Some broader estimates that include the full supply chain put the figure even higher. The doner has surpassed traditional German fast foods like bratwurst and currywurst in popularity. A remarkable shift for a dish introduced by immigrant workers just decades earlier. And Kadir Nurman, the man most widely credited with popularizing the doner sandwich. He never patented his creation. He never built a restaurant empire. When he received his Lifetime Achievement Award in 2011, he told the German magazine Frankfurter Rundschau that he wasn't entirely happy with modern doner kebabs. "There are too many ingredients in them," he said. But he also said he was happy that so many Turkish people were able to make a living selling kebabs. Kadir Nurman passed away on October 24, 2013. He was approximately 80 years old. The story of the doner kebab keeps evolving, shaped lately by everyday realities like rising costs and discussions about standards. As food and energy expenses climbed across Europe, many shops raised menu prices, from just a few euros to noticeably higher amounts. Regular customers felt the difference. An informal nickname even emerged for the rise in doner prices, reflecting how visible it became in daily life. Long lines formed at popular counters as people compared value, portions, and taste. The conversation also reached European institutions. In 2024, an application sought EU recognition of a traditional style under existing specialty rules, outlining specifications for how doner might be prepared and presented. Draft standards describe specific cuts of beef from older cattle, regulated marinades, and slices cut to roughly 3 to 5 millimeters. At the same time, many variations popular in Germany, such as veal, turkey, and vegetarian options, continue alongside any traditional definitions. Authorities reviewed the submission, while industry and consumers considered practical effects on everyday business and choice. Across counters, owners and customers focused on practicality. Some welcomed clarity from standards, others preferred flexibility to match local tastes. In practice, most simply kept serving crowds, prioritizing freshness, consistency, and service. The application was later withdrawn. Shops carried on as before, refining their offerings and meeting demand day by day. Here's what makes the doner kebab remarkable. Its roots trace back centuries to layered meat, slowly roasted in the kitchens and streets of the Ottoman Empire. A Turkish cook's practical innovation in the 1830s created the rotating vertical spit. Immigrant workers carried that tradition to a new country. And a simple idea, putting the meat into bread for people on the go, turned it into one of the most popular street foods on earth. Today, variations of the doner exist across the globe. In the Arab world, it's shawarma. In Greece, it's gyros. In Mexico, Lebanese immigrants adapted the technique into tacos al pastor. In Canada, the city of Halifax made the doner its official food. The doner kebab is a dish shaped by many hands, across many borders, over many centuries. Its story is a story of migration, adaptation, and the way food travels with people, evolving along the way. And for a man named Kadir Nurman, standing at a small stall across from a Berlin train station in 1972, it was simply an answer to a question. What do busy people want to eat? The doner kebab. Centuries old, still spinning, still evolving. Subscribe to Meal Mysteries for more.